the 10 to 1 podcast with your host, Brad Oman, featuring Ben Konowitz and Nate Loucks. And here's the podcast.
Hey guys, I'm Jason Momoa from Hawaiian, Iowa.
Wow.
Iowa?
Guys, Jason Momoa is in the studio.
He's here.
Looking handsome as ever.
I like the water.
Yeah.
Yep, you do.
Uh-huh.
And I love your
This
tattoos.
is all accurate.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love your tattoos and
Sitting
your
here without a shirt on.
long hair.
I didn't really like how much you hugged Heidi Gardner at the end of the episode. That's, it's fine.
Hey.
It's fine. It's totally fine.
Yeah.
It's all good.
I'm just joking. He was a great guy.
He's a great guy.
I didn't love the episode, but
This episode of SNL, yeah, maybe not so much. Maybe not so much.
I kept on waiting. I waited and waited because I'm a patient little Nelly, but
Yes.
it didn't happen for me.
Well, you know what? We'll get into it. But
Nope,
yeah,
I want to get into it now.
Jason Momoa hosted this episode
Let's have a 10-second podcast.
of
We're done.
season.
It was fine.
Oh boy, of season 49 of Saturday Night Live. Musical guest was Tate McRae, someone I was not familiar with.
Still not.
Until this episode. I watched a little bit of her musical stuff.
I watched the whole thing. Still
Why,
don't
Brad?
know.
Why?
So there. She's a pretty lady.
What is she? She's like she's 21.
I don't know. I didn't even.
They're
Look,
so
I
these
mean,
days.
yeah.
Well, I mean, not
kids
everyone
today.
is as old as you, though.
I'm ancient.
She is 20.
There you go.
Oh my god.
But yeah, like it's honestly the one thing I've noticed is there's a trend in voices right now where a lot of the and it happens depending on generations, but like a lot of the big female stars right now, as far as singers, have like a voice that is very similar to Olivia Rodrigo's. It's kind of like the hot thing right now, where it's like it's just, I don't know how to describe it, like as far as like what the tone is, but like you know it when you hear it.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like a certain way of how they're singing, and it's
You know what though? I won't hate on Olivia Rodrigo.
No,
'cause
I think she's
she
great.
writes some bangers.
She's a great songwriter. She's fantastic. But there's just it's a trend right now that kind of vocal style.
I feel like that's always how it happens though when you have somebody like Olivia Rodrigo that kind of took the industry by storm.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have the Jessica Simpsons that come after, right?
Yeah.
Did she do Friday? Was that her song?
That was Rebecca Black.
Oh. Okay. I don't know anything about female singers.
Yeah, I don't think
or-
anything about
or male singers
in
or singers in
general.
general,
Yeah,
yeah.
music,
music is not your
Yeah,
thing.
It's really not, guys.
audio.
I'm more of a visual learner.
Yeah, tell me about it.
No.
Unless we're talking about books, then it's pure audio.
The words. I don't like the words.
But yeah, Jason Momoa hosted this episode, and we will get to him in just a second. But first, let's start with that cold open.
Boo. Oh my god. Why? God, just stop. I don't know why they do what they do, but hey,
Hey, actually,
We can all agree that Mikey Day's Joe Biden is terrible, right?
I don't care. That's the thing. I just don't care.
hey, can we?
It's not the worst thing in the world. It's an impression though. It's not anything. Nobody's rewriting the book here.
It's bad though.
Let's take this back though, real quick,
Oh.
because I've got a couple questions for you guys.
You want to talk about the commercials before the show?
Yeah, if we can. What did you guys see before the show? I had a commercial for.
he
no,
really
just kidding. Jason Momoa was on SNL before. You guys know this.
Correct.
Yes.
4 times.
No.
Oh, well, he hosted once.
Yes, he cameoed twice. Do you guys remember which
Gosh.
episode?
I did not.
Little trivia bit for you.
Oh, good for you. buddy.
Little trivia bit. I wanted to get that out.
Yeah,
Like,
I can't even remember like when it would be. So yeah, I don't know.
October 26th, 2019. What was that show? I really wish one of you guys were like a Rain Man savant for like.
I know, right?
You know.
October 26th.
It's the Halloween episode of 2019.
It was the David Epps Pumpkins.
Yeah, it was-
Yes.
Was it?
Yes. I think Chance the Rapper, didn't he do a David S. Pumpkins?
No,
He did some Halloween stuff, and I cannot remember.
he did do some Halloween stuff.
and I can't not
And
remember.
where's
which it was.
Jason Momoa in that episode?
Chance the Rapper was the musical guest as well, and Momoa introduced him.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Which I really wonder why, and I don't know what the connection there is, but he did.
They're probably just buddies.
And then another one,
Ladies and gentlemen, Chance the Rapper.
a year later, he cameoed as well
Okay.
in the October 10th, 2020 show, which is my birthday, by the way, October 10th. Host
That was an at-home episode.
Bill Burr was the host, and he filmed a cameo in the sketch Enough is Enough with, I think it was Beck Bennett or Mikey Day, where they're talking on a phone, and Jason Momoa does this thing where he's like, lose my number.
And that was an at-home episode, right?
It was an at-home. Yeah, they were still doing at-home episodes, but he filmed a cameo for that one. So
Well, there you
it's
go.
technically his 4th episode.
Well, he's almost going to
or let's say this, his 4th
No,
appearance
no.
on
Five
SNL.
Timers Club
That's
coming
not
up next.
No, that's not how that works. But ugh.
All right, let's get into it. Biden cold open. Biden Panda cold open. Why Biden Panda cold open?
Yeah, there's a panda in it.
I know, but is that what they called it? I feel like there's a. Can they get more?
How else would
creative?
you describe it? But,
That is true.
Oh, sorry, a bad panda Biden cold open.
President Joe Biden, portrayed by Mikey Day, and a panda bear, played by Bowen Yang. I mean, a little racist. Answered questions from reporters Andrew Dismukes, James Austin Johnson, Punky Johnson, Ego Wodum, Marcelo Hernandez, Molly Carney, and Michael Longfellow after a meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping.
Mm-hmm. Winnie the Pooh.
Yes.
He does not like that, does he?
No, he does not. So I told you guys last week I didn't dislike that political cold open because it was different, right? They did the Trump thing where the candidates were on the stage and they all froze and Trump commented on each of the candidates. Right. And I thought that was a different thing.
Different.
It was a different thing. We're gonna get political cold opens until the election next year and months after.
Business as usual.
So, what did you guys think of this one? I
thought it was actually really good.
No, you didn't.
No, it was awful. It was just terrible. It wasn't funny. I don't know what they're doing.
No, they were missing a bit in there, and I think it was the comedy.
I just like are they really still doing things where they just say you're old? That's one of the jokes they did.
Yeah.
Was just saying that he was old. Like, yeah, he's an old man. Most of the presidents have been old men. Shut the fuck up with it.
Listen, they've only got a week.
It's just.
But do you think they do some of those jokes? I sometimes wonder because there's some pressure to be kind of both sidesism a little bit. Like, hey, we make fun of Biden too, and one of the ways to make fun of Biden is obviously he is old as dirt.
You know what? Honestly, do you know what? Here's my pitch for the next cold open where Biden's in there. They're planning his funeral and deciding who's going to run in 2028. Like, that's funny to me because he will be dead
while
by
he's
then.
still alive, though. Like
he's in the room planning it.
He's
with them. Like, we got to talk about this, and like go for it. Then, if you're going to say he's old, make a real joke. Like, that's a dark fucking joke.
Yeah, exactly. Make it a dark thing. Make it something that's a little you said.
Pump something in there.
Oh,
man.
Biden's old. Haven't heard that one before.
Hey, would you like to undo everything that you did diplomacy wise in that meeting with one word? Yes. Oh, okay. That's what he really did.
Yeah. Or just don't do these fucking sketches at the top of the show. Like, it's like, seriously.
How much do you think that Lauren is really just pushing? Like, it's like, nope, it's got to be that. And these writers don't give a shit about politics, and they don't know anything about politics. And so they don't care about it.
Well, they clearly know about politics, but it's just like there's
some of the greatest comedy political writers I think in the country on this show, right? Because they
can't be possible.
No, they show it on Weekend Update. I mean, those are some of the
that's
best.
Fine.
They did a joke on Weekend Update to cut a little bit to this because this is relevant to this. Is making fun of Joe Biden's age, and they said, who is older than Israel itself. That was a great joke. I'd never thought of it before. That's great. That's a great way to make fun of his age.
Is it just that they all pool their resources to come up with that one joke? And
they are different writers. They're a different team of writers. Weekend Update writers only work on Weekend Update. But
I just think that
Weekend Update, lend a hand to the cold opens.
It's interesting because like with Donald Trump, you had the problem of everything that's happening in his administration is so ridiculous that it's very difficult to lampoon. Mm-hmm. With Biden, you have a thing where nothing ridiculous is happening and makes it really hard to find something to joke about, which is, I think, why they're doing it. Like, look how old he is.
Or they want to make it ridiculous, and it's not that ridiculous.
To piggyback off that, though, Brad, I think it goes a step further because what used to be a faux pas that you could play for laughs on SNL is now normal,
right,
and is not outlandish at all.
Yeah.
So when they bring it up, well, that's just not funny.
Yeah.
And we've got.
But they still do that.
I know. But that formula does not work anymore.
Yeah.
And for some reason they haven't decided that it won't work.
Yeah. And it's so interesting too because like SNL would do that, but they would do it in a way that made it satirical or funnier. Like George W. Bush never said the word strategery. And that's something that people remember and always associate with George W. Bush because of Saturday Night Live.
It's my favorite George Bush interview where he says he got in an argument. George Bush himself says, sir, you didn't say that word. And he goes, yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Like he started believing he said the word because, again, SNL did such a great job. The same thing, I think they did a couple Palinisms that were like that as well, where she didn't really say the thing.
I can see Russia from my house is not a verbatim thing that she said, but they were clever enough to spin it into a phrase that we're still talking about fucking 15 years later.
Yeah.
So Mikey Biden, good Biden, bad Biden. I don't.
It's bad. I don't like
know
it.
That it's bad. It's just
it is. I don't think he's doing any. We can all do this impression. If you put some makeup on, yeah, it's me, Joe Biden, and I want to talk to you.
I think you got to be a little slower.
All right, here's mine.
I want to talk to you about doing presidential stuff.
And you got to. He does a little bit of and then I go and I gotta. He does that thing. He's got
just like
he
that.
does that. Yeah, it's almost creepy.
Yeah,
right.
It is creepy.
Right.
Yes, I was talking to my friend the other day.
It's just weird.
Oh, yours sounds like a creepier old man.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
You want some candy, little girl?
That's not Joe Biden.
Let me smell your hair.
Bad
it's just-
cold open.
and-
We
and-
got a bad cold open.
Let us say again, love all the cast,
Yeah, I was
love
gonna
all
say,
the writers.
If anybody from the show actually listens to our podcast, do you think that we hate them? Like I love them.
No, I don't even hate Mikey Day, even though I think his impression is bad. Sorry, Mikey.
I have so much respect for them. So much. I just wonder how it's just gone off the rails so much with the cold opens. You know, I want it to be better. I know how hard that must be to come up with comedy like that. It must be almost impossible because it's not happening.
Yeah.
I want to laugh at those again. I just don't think that SNL has found that path of the new formula that's going to be required now that things are so bombastic in general that you can't just take the misspelling of potato and make it the weirdest thing in the world, and like Dan Quayle is played for laughs.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work
Yeah,
anymore.
the level of absurd you had to do in the 90s and early 2000s
The bar is so
different
low
now. So
compared now.
perhaps let some of the great absurdist people on the show take a stab at Weekend Update or at Cold Open. You know, give Sarah,
Dismukes.
give Dismukes, give Sarah Sherman, give the Please Don't Destroy guys, give them that slot and see what they can do. I would love to see that.
Can't get
Hey,
worse.
make it political somehow if you want, if that's what Lauren wants. But I want you guys to come up with it, and I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, I think that you're right. There's got to be some kind of like better absurd
Shake it up a
satire
little
angle
bit.
to it.
Shake it up.
Yeah.
Shake it up.
And like I said, I thought last week was a little bit better because there was something different.
Yeah.
But figure that out.
Still not great.
All right, moving on. Monologue by Jason Momoa. The host for the second time, Jason Momoa, discusses his accomplishment of portraying Aquaman and achieving his childhood dream of becoming a marine biologist. He also expresses his ambition to preserve the cleanliness of the Earth's ocean. Now, Ben, you hate environmentalism. So talk about what you thought of when he said that.
Let me just put my plastic straw back in my drink. Let me ask you a real question. Do you think that the writers
We're on strike for this monologue.
just forgot to write a monologue? And then they were like, Jason Momoa. And he comes out, he's like, guys, there's nothing on the cue cards. And he just had to vamp for a few minutes.
I do
Because that's
get-
exactly,
but-
it's so disjointed. If there was no comedy, we get it. You love life. Okay.
Yeah,
What the fuck is going on
I would
here?
love life if I was
But
Jason
it's just,
Momoa.
it was so goddamn weird.
Yeah, I wrote in my review that it felt like he was coming up with it off the top of his head.
Seriously.
Like I don't understand. Like there was no real monologue.
No.
It was like they just said, "Hey, just go out there and talk about your life and what you're doing." Okay.
But don't be specific.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, you talked about the water bottle company, and that's fine. And you're an Aquaman. What else? What?
Yeah, it was so weird, and it was so. I couldn't believe how short it was. I was like, "What? That was it." I just looked at my wrist, by the way, for those who can't watch us.
I just am so.
Who's not watching our video stream?
It was such a disjointed like pause for applause that didn't really happen when he was thinking that he was going to get these big applause breaks on like I Love Life. So
Yeah.
he'd pause and wait, and then it didn't happen. And then he'd start to talk, but then the audience would start to clap a little bit. And it got weird.
Yeah.
What the fuck was that? I've never seen a more like a weirder monologue. There was no point to it. It was so strange.
It was under 3 minutes.
Yeah, it was really short.
That's how short this was.
Yeah, it was really short.
Maybe they just forgot.
No, they don't forget it.
Maybe they had a bigger plan in
Too many
place and
sketches.
Maybe they had maybe the camel that they were going to use died, and they're like, oh shit.
Yeah, you do wonder, or there was something that they were hoping that would work out, and at the end it just didn't. So
they had to just, like,
they just
go on the
went with hey, be charming and do your thing, right?
Just weird.
I mean, it wasn't like he tried and he failed. He didn't really do anything, but he was still charming.
Well,
but,
Jason Momoa is going to be charming.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, if you run into my mom, you know, she's still recovering from my birth.
yeah,
Like
that was a good
clever joke. But other than that, what the hell was that? It was just so freaking weird.
Yeah, it was not a great way to have the show begin, quote unquote. I mean, the cold open already started bad, but like this is like kind of a fresher opening, and like it kind of sets the stage for the night, and it just ugh.
And Momoa is the kind of guy that also seems like he would try anything. So
Yes.
he would be a fun one to
Yes.
do some musical stuff or whatever on that.
And we'll circle back to that because I've got a couple. I've got a couple things to say.
I've got a couple notes.
Oh, interesting.
I've got
I
a
do,
couple notes.
I do have a couple notes though. And it's probably going to sound a little pretentious. So circle back for that later, boys.
Old-timey movies. Two film critics, played by Heidi Gardner and Bowen Yang, attempt to watch a black and white film featuring an actor portrayed by Michael Longfellow. However, they are constantly interrupted by two men, Mikey Day and Jason Momoa. The sketch also includes appearances by Marcelo Hernandez, Chloe Feynman, and Kenan Thompson at different points. What did you guys think of this?
Well, first, let's clarify the premise of the sketch a little bit. They're not just watching an actor. They're watching L. Frank Baum, the writer of The Wizard of Oz, writing on a bench. And it's supposed to be like a vintage clip.
Yeah, this is supposed to be a point in real history.
Yes,
right?
correct.
I didn't hate this sketch at all. I thought that the premise was very solid. Like, that's a really clever thing to write about. What if you got footage of old timey and we did it live action where you were just they're making very fast movements like it is shot at a slow frame rate, so the actors have to act like they're going really fast. It's such a clever premise. Did it work 100%? No, but I really thought what they did with it was okay. It could have been better, but man, I was definitely entertained when I was watching it.
Yeah, some of the physical pacing wasn't the best, but
That's got to be really hard to do, though.
For sure. And but one of the things I think did enhance it was that production design touch of doing the black and white filter with the grainy film style for it, and that fast pace like movement. It really did make it better than what otherwise would have been. It was a nice.
I did like that they thought ahead enough to be like, this is a very famous writer. Is this a scene where he writes this and then it gets interrupted again?
Right.
And it constantly. So that's another layer that I really liked about this.
I wish that there was actually, because it's funny that they're being interrupted, but I almost wish that there were touch points and references of things that they were doing that did actually end up influencing Wizard of Oz or something like that, where like finding out that something ridiculous like inspired certain elements of that would have been funny.
That's a kind of clever way of weaving it in there. I also thought that this could be something that they do bring back, and maybe they evolve it, or kind of do some things with other major characters or other major authors.
I think that you could do this again, and I would be interested to see what they do.
But I do like that kind of element to it, Brad. That's a great idea. How something
surprising origins,
something dumb says influences the thing, and you've got that character in there now, or something like that. So, Wizard of Oz would be a great one because you can do. There's so many like virtues and vices that you can demonstrate in the comedy that end up with the characters.
So not bad, but not great.
I thought it was above average,
and I think again has the ability to. I think you can workshop it into a ongoing type of sketch.
I was entertained the whole time, and I laughed a couple of times. I give it a good rating.
I did like how gleeful Jason Momoa was every time he was on screen doing stuff. Like that was really funny.
He was great.
He's fun to watch. He is. He loves SNL clearly, and he loves hamming it up.
I did like Bowen when. It was like, and now they think they're ladies.
Yeah.
It was so good.
The other thing I liked about the sketch actually is the unnecessary cattiness of Bowen Yang's character.
No, I didn't bring the clip at all. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, of course I brought the clip.
Yeah.
All right.
So it sounds like you actually liked the sketch.
I mean, I liked parts of it.
Oh my God.
I didn't dislike it either. I didn't say I disliked it.
I liked this.
It's definitely not the worst.
Yeah, I like this sketch.
I like the sketch.
Certainly not the worst.
All right, moving on.
That was the monologue.
Rome song, written by Rosebud Baker, Dan Bulla, and Streeter Seidel. I want to say we don't always read who it's written by because oftentimes we find out who it was written by based on the actual sketch writers. They'll put it on their Instagram or on Twitter that this was written by this person. Usually it's like Streeter Seidel will, hey, shout out to Rosebud Baker for writing this or something like this. Yeah. And so by the time we actually record, they're not known, or sometimes the sketches never actually get out there who wrote them. So we try to read them if we know it, if we find it, but we don't always. So this one was written by Rosebud Baker, Dan Bulla, and Streeter Seidel. A group of women portrayed by Ego Wodum, Punky Johnson, and Chloe Trost are wondering what their partners, Jason Momoa, Kenan Thompson, and Mikey Day, are thinking. This kind of goes along with that modern question about women saying that their husbands or their boyfriends are always thinking of Rome. I don't get that. I never think of Rome.
Yeah,
is this something I'm missing?
This was a viral thing that happened back in September, where
it's about a month.
Do you guys always think of Rome? I don't.
No. So
what, ladies?
When this was going on, my fiance Brittany had asked me. She's like, "Hey, this is the thing that's going on TikTok right now. Like, how often do you think about Rome?" And I was like, I don't know, almost never, probably.
Why would I?
But it seemed like what was happening was it was a lot of like kind of bros and stuff like that, or like, oh yeah, like at least once a week or something like that, and like they and talking about
it'd be what, battling in a coliseum. Oh, dude, I think about that like once a week. It'd be awesome to be a gladiator.
Yeah, it's things.
They're
like,
not though. They're lying because it becomes a thing.
It's things like that, and so but this was an amusing sketch. I thought it was solid, a decent rap. Jason Momoa's presence, his physical presence, kind of worked for this kind of thing.
Yep. Sure.
But at the same time,
he's a little bit of a bro.
It's also like, why didn't you guys do this
a month ago?
Yeah, you know, because like we've had 5 episodes, and you know, and maybe like they were just waiting for the right person to do it, and they didn't feel like they had it.
Timothée Chalamet.
But yeah, it just feels like
total bro.
It felt stale because of that, you know.
Yeah, I knew immediately what they were doing.
Yeah, as soon as I saw Mikey Day looking out the window, I was like, oh, he's thinking about Rome, and this is going to be about like a Rome thing.
And as soon as I saw that, they started Rome. My first thought was like, but didn't that happen like a month ago? That month and a half ago?
It's almost like 2 months ago. Yeah,
it's just one of those things where like when you have a sketch show like Saturday Night Live that is done in a week and it's able to be so relevant and timely, why would you reach back to something that like is not in the zeitgeist anymore? You know, like no one's talking about that.
So
anymore.
that just makes me think that even though it is written in a week, this is an idea that was started 2 months ago, and they've just come in and nurturing it along, and now it's finished, and now we can use it.
Yeah, because it happened when the show was still off the air. You know, so
they did this once last year where they pulled in a thing and did a sketch on it that was like same thing. It was like 2 months too late. And there was nothing wrong with the sketch. I can't remember what it was, but I do remember that. There was nothing wrong with it. It was just the moment had passed.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's with the comedy for this. The moment had passed. You have to hit on it, right? Sometimes it's like when you're at an event and you get back in your car and you think, I should have said that. That would have been funny if I would have said that. Well, you can't go back in there and say the thing. The moment's gone, and I feel like that's what this was.
Try it sometimes. It works more often than you think.
See what happens.
The execution of this was fine. The performance were great. The sketch itself was not bad.
No, the one thing I did appreciate that I think that they maybe knew that like this is kind of an old thing is they did kind of freshen it up a little bit by having the extra things at the end, like the astrology and the stuff like that. So that was like a nice touch.
Made it a little bit more evergreen.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Nightclub line. 2 bouncers, played by Jason Momoa and Marcelo Hernandez, judge people's appearances, portrayed by Chloe Fineman, Sarah Sherman, and Michael Longfellow, as they enter a club. What'd you guys think of this one?
Next.
Didn't love this. Didn't love it at all.
I the saving grace a little bit. I do like Jason Momoa, just character, just not getting it, and just you are an ugly person. That made me laugh the first time he said it, and it got me. But then no escalation, no nothing. It was just stupid.
Yeah,
it was not good.
No, and like Jason Momoa's Scarface impression wasn't doing it for me either. This felt,
I love the writers,
sketch.
love the show so much. It felt very lazy to me, honestly.
Yeah, it felt like a sketch that I would have loved if it was on All That when I was a kid.
Yep.
Like that was it, you know? I mean, it's such a basic
premise. Are you blaming
premise.
Keenan for this?
And this wasn't the first time this happened this wasn't the only time this happened in this episode either. There are a couple sketches where I was like, this is such a lazy basic premise. I don't even know why it's happening.
I don't remember. Did either one of you guys like the Towel Boy sketch?
I don't think I did.
Oh, you're talking about the one from the Michael B. Jordan episode.
Did you like it?
I did. I actually did.
So I remember liking it. And maybe I can be listened to on the podcast. And it was the worst sketch of the year. But I remember thinking
don't ever listen to our old episodes,
that it was pretty good. And I think that this is the same sketch-ish.
Yeah.
Where it's Marcelo Hernandez and he is definitely Hispanic. And they're having somebody who doesn't speak Spanish also do a Spanish or a Mexican accent or a Dominican accent. And it just doesn't work, obviously, because he's not that good at it. But instead of it being like charming at all, it just was repetitive, and this time it was boring.
Yeah, it just didn't work. It was not a good sketch all around. I didn't enjoy
and
myself.
it's pretty early for that type of sketch.
There were no towels either.
It was not a just, hey, we're gonna. Sometimes I feel like some of the sketches are like, well, there's a beginning and an end. It works. It's not great, but at least it fills the time.
Yeah,
that's usually towards the end. You know, This is pretty early for it. So, all right,
let's put a time filler in.
Yep.
What is it? The third sketch of the night? Yep, time for that.
Yeah, then you know it's going to be a great episode. All right, Thanksgiving week airport parade, written by Mike DeCenzo, Jimmy Fowley, Jake Norman, Ego Nwodum, Sarah O'Sullivan, and Bowen Yang. Two TSA agents, played by Ego Wodum and Bowen Yang, introduce various travelers as they host in Thanksgiving week airport parade. Almost every cast member seemed like it was in this, so I'm not even going to read all of the names. Jason Momoa plays a captain. What did you guys think of this one? It's one of those sketches that did have a ton of cast members in it. Keenan and Molly Carney and Punky and Sarah Sherman.
Like how he said he wasn't going to read the cast. Then
I was going to read.
You know what? I'm going to do it.
I've got it written down at what roles they actually played. I'm not going to read all those, but all of them were in there. What did you think of this?
You know, I thought that this was a really good premise, and like they've done a couple different versions of this before.
Halloween Night.
Yeah, I like that. That one was okay.
Central Park.
The Central Park one was really funny.
You really
I
liked
thought.
that one.
Yeah.
I thought it was okay.
I thought it was pretty funny. But it's this one. It just felt like they didn't really dig into, I think, like the weirdness and like
Agreed.
how wild like traveling and being at airports during Thanksgiving week really is. Like it felt like they hit like the surface level stuff. It's like, oh yeah, a crazy woman with her dogs, and like just the most simple stuff. And I felt like they could have gotten even more like into it deeper. And I don't know what the fuck Jason Momoa was doing in this sketch, but he
was playing a drunk.
It was not good. He's not good at playing drunk, and like his role in the sketch just felt like it was nothing to me. And I was disappointed because I felt like, oh yeah, this is a really fun premise. They could do some fun things with it, and it just don't. And then again, we have another instance here of SNL using a stale reference from something that went viral. That woman who was on TikTok shouting at nothing on the plane.
And that was a month ago.
That was it in August, actually.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so weird.
Yeah, so I don't know if they just if this was like an episode where like, well, we don't really have much new stuff. Let's dig into the old archives.
I do wonder sometimes if they have episodes where it's like everyone's going, I've got nothing.
Yeah,
like,
maybe.
I've got nothing. And okay, go to the newspapers, read what happened a couple months ago, and see what we did use.
I did like the joke where Jason Momoa flipped Ego the wings. And Bones was like, those are for children.
Yeah, that was
great
funny.
joke.
I did like that joke.
All right, moving on.
Wait, that room's for breastfeeding.
Oh, he was breastfeeding. Yeah.
That got me as well. Yeah. That was also a good joke.
All right, last week we didn't love the Please Don't Destroy sketch. Let's see what we think about it this week. Please Don't Destroy Ramen Order, written by Martin Hurley, John Higgins, and Ben Marshall. Martin and Ben try to order some ramen while John realizes that his girlfriend is breaking up with him. Have you guys ever had this moment where you're with your buddies and you're joking around and something kind of serious happens, but you're in the middle of something that's also, you've got this side thing with your friends that you're trying not to laugh. This happened to me more when I was younger, I felt like, but where it's like you're at a sleepover and your buddy just got yelled at by their parents, but you and your other buddies are still laughing because of what you guys were doing.
Yeah.
And also it's a little funny that you got laughed at.
And you're sitting there trying not to laugh, but that's only making it harder.
And your buddies who got yelled at by their parents is trying to be serious here, guys. We got to shut up.
We really got to shut
up. My dad's going to kill us.
Okay, Brian, we really need to be quiet.
Yeah. So that's what I kind of thought of when I thought of the sketch. What did you guys think of?
I think that it's official that Please Don't Destroy is in a rough patch.
Yeah.
This was not. I didn't hate this by any means, but it was another sketch where like the premise just felt a little too simple and they didn't do much with it. And I was just like, oh, okay, this is fine, I guess.
For me, everything they do will always probably be in the top half of the sketches.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be in the top. They haven't been in the top 3 sketches, which is really rare for them for me because I'm such a big fan.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I was thinking about this week, Brad. What do you think? Because their movie just came out.
They're doing a lot of press for
that. They're doing a ton of press. Do you think that took them away from some of this, or divided loyalties a little bit?
I did think of that, and I did actually even mention that in my review that maybe they've just been busy doing press and talking about the movie and stuff like that. So maybe they haven't been devoting their full attention to this. But like
they should, though.
I don't know.
I just want them to be better.
The Lonely Island wasn't great all the time.
No, God,
they
no.
definitely had duds, and so like it's fine. It's just it does seem like the past few episodes, the Please Don't Destroy sketches have just been
just more basic and rudimentary.
Yeah.
where it says SNL writing night, and it's like, oh, I actually believe that this is exactly how this went down.
Yeah, exactly.
They're just coming up with something last minute, and it's like, all right, that'll work.
Yeah, and I mentioned that in my review too. I was like, this felt like. They're like, oh crap, we need a sketch. Let's come up with something. It's like, granted, that's kind of the premise for all of their sketches.
Of course, they could work on something for 4 weeks, and it's still supposed to be slapdash together. This one really felt like that.
But that's the brilliance of what they do, because it does seem so absurd, and they make it into something, and they escalate it so perfectly and just so skillfully that it takes a ton of skill to do it. And so it was fine.
I did appreciate what they did with the music and how that enhanced the comedy of like dramatically switching from the sad music to the upbeat kind of stuff.
There's stuff there though, because it's like
it is a premise that has comedy in it.
Because they're sitting there and like he's at the pork buns. He's at the pork buns and he goes, "Is it, like it could be sweet and spicy?" Wait, so about a basic girl with big butt? Is that I wish they would have done that a lot more.
Yeah,
they would have just escalated it fully, and then he never would have gotten it right.
Yeah. I did watch their movie this week, by the way, and we'll talk about.
We were supposed to watch it together, fellas.
I did.
You sons of bitches!
We'll talk about it on our
You sons of bitches!
We can still watch it
you
together.
Dirty
I'll still watch it with you.
It's too late.
And we can.
Wait, do you want to watch it with me?
Yeah, and we'll talk about it on Go Flix Yourself, our other podcast.
Aren't we supposed to talk about it on this podcast as well?
It's not a
Please Don't Destroy thing. It's produced by Lorne Michaels.
All right, but what am I going to say on the other podcast?
It's a new movie. It's a hot topic. People talking about it.
It's on TV too.
I don't think that's true.
It's on Peacock.
It's not TV.
It's a TV app.
It's not TV. It's HBO. Moving on. What's next?
All right, weekend update with Colin Jost and Michael Che. Will you just do a really brief explanation of what the bradometer
so
is?
The bradometer is a scale of 0 to 100, where how much interaction and like real
camaraderie,
subtext camaraderie,
love.
Not always subtext. Sometimes it's just the
just
full
regular
text.
Yeah. Behind the line, between the lines stuff a little bit. What's the inside baseball
Stolen
stuff?
glances.
Yeah. Stolen glances. I love that. So I rate this episode like an average one would be 50.
No, that's not average. We're very rarely at 50.
Yeah.
I think average is 75.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Let me start over. A normal amount for Brad to be happy would be 75.
Yeah,
sure.
Right?
Yeah.
This time around, I think I'm gonna go 65.
Okay.
I think we were at 75 last week, correct?
Was it 75 or was it 70?
No one cares.
70. Okay. I'm gonna actually go slightly more because I thought there were some decent jokes in this one. I told you about the Israel joke. I thought was good. And
but that's not what this is.
I know. But
yeah.
listen,
Nate?
That is nothing. He forgot what we're doing.
No. Colin Jost also had some jokes where I felt like he was self-deprecating, and those are always fun.
It's not. That's not part of it.
It is part of it.
Actually,
the chemistry. It's chemistry.
Nate,
because then when Colin Jost does it, then Michael Che laughs, and I know you like it when they laugh at each other.
Hold on. The whole time we've been doing the bradometer, do you really think that he's factoring also in how good the weekend update is?
No, listen.
Because that's what it just made me sound like. Like it does influence his, but it doesn't.
But listen.
It could be a shitty episode of Weekend Update, but they could have amazing chemistry and get 100, right?
No, that will not happen because if the bradometer is high, the weekend update is going to be high. It's going to be good.
No,
have you ever had a high bradometer and a bad weekend update?
I do think what Nate is saying is somewhat correct because there is.
I think yours influences that.
No, he doesn't need to say anything more.
No.
What I said was correct.
There is a correlation between typically the better weekend updates are the ones where there is more interaction between Jost and Che.
Cart horse.
So correct.
So what I was getting at then is when Colin Jost makes fun of himself and when he has self-deprecating humor, Michael Che laughs, and they usually have a little bit of a look-see at each other or something like that.
But the overall quality of weekend update has nothing to do with their chemistry.
Agreed. But again, the jokes and all these things do have a role in how they connect to each other.
Yeah, they can. Not always.
So I'm back to my point. I'm gonna go at 73%.
Yeah, Ben was right. It was 65.
You thought it was worse than last week?
Yeah,
I didn't.
This wasn't much. There
wasn't
much
moving
going on. It was just another like it's and this does go along with your correlation is that there wasn't a lot of interaction between them, and on top of that, the jokes also weren't like particularly great this week. I just was not. Again, I wasn't impressed by Weekend Update this week. It's just like, okay,
fine. I mean, what did you think, Benny?
I know. I mean, you're right. The Israel joke was funny.
That was the best one.
It was the best one. I did like Michael Che setting the female audience up. I always like when he does that.
Oh yeah, of course.
I felt like Colin Jost was having a little bit of fun on this.
He was too because he did. Yeah, but I do have the perfect body. But that was with the George Santos.
That's what I'm
thing.
saying. I thought that.
But
well, I think we include those. I mean, the bradometer doesn't just go for the jokes; it goes for the whole weekend update, even in the bits.
That's fair.
Yeah, and I think that the
You can rethink if you want to re-rate it.
Bowen Yang's George Santos in this week edition of Weekend Update was pretty good, actually, I thought.
Yeah, no.
All right, let's get to that then real quick.
Yeah, so Bowen Yang shows back up as George
Colin
Santos.
Jost interviews George Santos again, written by Allison Gates, Ken Sublett, Bowen Yang, and Celeste Neem. They've done this before.
My first thought when you see Bowen Yang roll in as George Santos is, okay, because they've done it so many times.
Yeah.
And again, just like James Austin Johnson's Trump, okay. But then sometimes these surprise you as, oh, actually, this one's still really clever.
Yeah.
And that's what this was. I laughed a lot.
Yeah.
I thought this was great.
And this isn't one of those things, too, where, like, they did inject a little more absurdity to it. Like, when they've done this before, it's about, sure, his lies are outlandish, and, like, that's what he does. But, like, him holding up that baby.
And
yeah.
saying, it's an iPhone baby.
Yeah. Like, there was stuff like that that I appreciated, and I liked how silly it got.
Yeah.
All right, what did you think of the other ones? We got Draymond Green on his NBA suspension, written by Michael Che, Alex English, Gary Richardson, and Devin Walker.
Yeah, I just learned that that's a person who exists. So,
obviously, Ben, you're an NBA fan. You knew this.
Draymond Green is a notoriously dirty player. And he's definitely fought his own teammates.
Yeah.
He's not a great guy.
Right.
And so I did really like this as somebody who follows the NBA pretty closely. I did find it very funny. I also like that he was taking everything as a compliment.
That was funny.
That was great.
I did like that,
like, because, like, you know, but you choked him out. Yeah, but I was trying to kill him. So good. And then I laughed honestly hard when he got the little black book and started making notes.
Yeah.
I laughed really hard at that. Like, it's good. Like, I was surprised. And this is probably because it's right up my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I did think that it was still funny. I just didn't know that person existed.
Oh, my God. And did you see the clip?
No.
That was viral?
No, I didn't, actually.
Yeah, he went through and he's had beef with this other player for a long time.
Yeah.
And so there was like a quasi fight that was happening. So Draymond Green just ran through the fight to the other side of the fight to Rudy Gobert and put him in a chokehold. Like, I'm going to kill you.
I mean,
And it really didn't have much to do with the fighter.
kudos to him, though, for just going for it.
Just taking, you know what? He saw his opportunity and he went for it. Oh, it's so funny.
And then finally, the last Weekend Update bit, Remember Lizards, on being a backup musical guest, written by Andrew Dismukes, James Austin Johnson, and Celeste Neem.
I don't care. I loved it. I thought
it was great. It was one of my favorite things in the whole.
Yeah, this was one of the best things in the entire episode.
Dude, this reminded me of the Bon Jovi cover band a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Which I want that.
Basically, I'm now to the point where, like, I'm getting excited whenever James Austin Johnson and Andrew Dismukes are doing something together.
They're a great pairing.
But then even more so as a subcategory of that, if they're doing something musical together, I'm definitely excited about it.
The fact that Dismukes doesn't even try to sing.
Yeah,
and he just yells. And like I'm like, do they really need it? Because, like,
to be fair, Imagine Dragons is there for sure of yelling as well.
So when you break down this bit, they do it twice, and I thought that was gonna be it.
Yeah.
So they do a third song, and I'm like, really? But then when he yells, right? It's like, hot magma. Like, he hit 3 words for fire basically, and I lost my mind. I thought it was so fucking funny.
It was really good.
It was really.
I
good.
like this a lot.
All right, moving on. Castaway, written by Mike DeCenzo, Jake Norwin. I'm going to say Kara O'Sullivan because I think I'm pronouncing it wrong every time. Concept by Breck Denny and Jake Nordwin. A man played by Jason Momoa reunites with his ex, played by Chloe Fineman, after a long time apart due to a shipwreck. This comes as a shock to Fineman's character's husband, Andrew Smukes. This is not a concept that has been foreign to SNL, where you've got a weakened husband or male that interacts with a former partner or something like that, and they're kind of cucked as it goes with
what I was surprised by is that they lifted this directly from Castaway, a movie that came out in the year 2000.
Yeah, it is a little bit that they called it Castaway. I'm like, you could have just created something new and it'd have been fine, right?
I mean, and as far as I remember, too, even Chloe Fineman's hairstyle is like Helen Hunt's hairstyle in that scene from Castaway.
Yeah. What did you think about that one, Benny?
I get the premise right of like, oh, let's do a sketch where there is a very normal looking husband, and of course Jason Momoa is a sex object, right? Like,
is he?
They were gonna do
people
that.
find him attractive or not?
They were gonna do that. I love Dismukes taking off his shirt. I loved watching.
I loved how the audience cheered for that too.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And like, I love the push-up contest part of it. Like, I loved that interaction. Everything else was fine. It was too. I could honestly though, I could have written this.
I felt like Momoa kind of whiffed it a little bit. He was not just on the ball tonight.
So okay, you know what? We'll save it. Circle back. I've got notes.
Okay. But yeah,
I would have put this though. I thought this was better, or they executed it better. Even though it is a little bit of a paint by numbers, I thought this was better than the nightclub line one. So I would have put this. Or I would have put this one earlier in the episode.
Dismukes alone made this
Dude,
still enjoyable.
This just goes to show you that any member now, in my opinion, most members of the cast can save a sketch.
Mm-hmm.
And it used to just be
great
Keenan
sketch.
or Chris Red with his crazy eyes.
Yeah.
And now, or A.D. Bryant or Cecily Strong. Now you look at it and go, okay, Marcelo Hernandez can save a sketch.
Yep.
Sarah Sherman can save a sketch. Boney, it's Dismukes. They all have this ability, and you're starting to see the confidence.
Yep.
And that part makes me so happy because even though the sketch wasn't amazing, I still picked out good things about it that I was entertained enough by.
Yeah.
I will say that Momoa was off in this version of it, whatever. But man,
I'm holding my breath to hear your notes.
My boy Dismukes.
Mm-hmm.
Give me more Dismukes.
All right, I'm holding my breath to hear your notes later. All right, moving on. Untold Battle of the Sexes, written by Mike DeCenzo, Martin Hurley, John Higgins, Ben Marshall. For those of you who don't know, you probably do. Those are the Please Don't Destroy guys. Jake Norman and Sarah Sherman. Anytime the Please Don't Destroy guys are paired with Sarah Sherman, it's always interesting. A woman portrayed by Sarah Sherman challenges the biggest man in Texas, played by Jason Momoa, in the year 1969.
You want to try that again? I'm sure he was the biggest man in Texas.
Sorry. It does not say Texas. A woman portrayed by Sarah Sherman challenges the biggest man in tennis, Jason Momoa, in the year 1969. The sketch also includes Heidi Gardner, James Austin Johnson, Ego Wodum, and Chloe Feynman, with Feynman briefly playing feminist icon Gloria Steinem. Andrew Dismukes and Devin Walker make an appearance in the sketch as well as fans. Did you guys watch the movie Battle of the Sexes?
I did, and it's pretty good.
Is it pretty good?
Emma Stone and Steve Carell are both great in it.
Mm-hmm.
And this
I didn't see it. I should.
This is clearly riffing on that, but with an episode of Untold, the Netflix sports documentary series. And I really like this. This was kind of similar to the sketch earlier in the night with the vintage film reel. The production design really helps us. And whenever they do like a pre-recorded sketch and it's meant to emulate like certain film styles,
they're really good.
They're very, very good at that with the film grain and the filters and just how they shot. Like it felt like a real Netflix documentary.
This is why it's SNL rather than some sketch comedy show.
But then the fact that it was just all of this build up for such an absurdly silly and gory moment.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. The fact that it was all build up for this absurdly silly and gory moment of just watching this tennis ball just go right through her midsection was like perfectly Sarah Sherman, like just hilarious. Like I love when she gets to do stuff like this.
I mean, it's like she's not gonna keep going, right? And Dismukes, right? She's got a hole in her, man. So
and doing that shot through the hole too.
So at first I thought I wasn't necessarily as on board with the grotesque of it right away, because in my head I was like, I don't know if it would have been funnier to just have him hit her with a tennis ball and then she like throws up on herself. That was something like more grounded, right? And then it would make more sense that she would try to keep going. And it's like I now just feel like I'm beating a woman, or I just think that there's more there. But of course, this is Sarah Sherman all day long. The absurdness.
Yeah.
And again, the Please Don't Destroy guys, they work together.
Definitely did not see the head coming off. I mean, I'm like, what else are they going to do? Another hole, and then they'll do something. Nope, popping the head off, and then the corpse is trying to play tennis. Like I was out loud laughing.
I loved it as well. I just thought it was absurd. It was a breath of fresh air in an episode of just
it was so surprisingly
paint by
fun.
numbers.
Yeah, the back half of the episode really picked up for me, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because of the Castaway sketch.
The Castaway sketch was a liftoff for me.
A liftoff. Okay.
All right. Finally, cab driver Mr. Gustafson, played by Jason Momoa, has poor health while driving a passenger, Kenan Thompson, in a taxi. Ego Wodum's voice is his doctor. What did you guys think of this one?
Hey, you know how it's really uncomfortable to hear other people's medical stuff? Let's do a whole sketch on that like it's never been done before.
Now I will say I didn't have a problem with the premise, because there were things in here that could have been like, there were a couple of funny bits that they could have absolutely escalated it. This could have been.
I don't think there was an escalation though. I don't think there is a way to escalate.
Yeah, like Momoa was dumb from the get go, and like it was.
You gave away.
I apologize. They're not escalation in this case, but clever turns of phrase and things like that can be done. And they did a few of them, but they really could have done more.
They needed some more characters. They needed something to add to it to give to
because
a different
I don't
mix.
mind when you're doing like if the doctor's going to tell you, yeah, you have a negative it tested negative, like it went up inside you, and he's like, oh yeah, no, there's stuff there that's funny. It's just Momoa just kind of didn't do a good job. His delivery wasn't very good. I don't know. It just
not even Keenan could save the sketch, and Keenan was being pretty funny. Like his reactions were very perfectly Keenan. It's the kind of stuff that I love to laugh at him for doing.
Do you think the plastic was supposed to come off all the way?
It does seem like it.
I mean, because the way he looked at it at first,
if it wasn't, he played it off.
It was awesome.
Like it was part of the sketch.
It was so good. Nate,
I thought it was fine. I didn't think it was great. I thought it was kind of with the other sketches.
Yeah.
It was
on the lower end.
Yeah, it wasn't paint by numbers necessarily, because there was something at least in here that wasn't. I haven't seen it every episode or every couple episodes. It just, like you said, they took a funny joke or a funny bit, and you needed some other characters to add to it, and it just wasn't enough to fill out a whole sketch.
I just, if you're gonna do stuff like that where you're like, you have hepatitis gold, right? You should just constantly be going for the joke then. If you're going to do it, do it. I would have, there was room there for them to do something like, you have hepatitis gold. Yep. Chlamydia platinum. Yep. Like there was room for like a rattling off.
Yeah. Which
would have been even better. But I still laughed enough where I didn't hate the sketch.
All right. Before we get into our best of for the night, I do want to point out, I don't know if you guys watched The Good Nights, but
he's strong. He's very strong. He picked up what was it, Ego and Chloe at the same time.
That's not what I was going to get at.
Sorry.
I was going to get at Colin Jost holding up a sign that says "We love you, Dana and Paula," referring to the death of former longtime cast member Dana Carvey's son Dex earlier in the week. And I just thought it's worth pointing out. Dana Carvey had such an incredible role on the show, and still honestly does with the podcast he hosts, bringing in former cast members and all the other lighting directors, these kind of things. And I was so sad to hear this. And if you follow Dana Carvey on Twitter at all, he's heartbroken.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's just awful. So
yeah,
I just feel so terrible.
His son was he was only in his early 30s. Right?
Yeah, and he loved. Yeah. If you've ever listened to his podcast, he loves his two sons.
And he did comedy too, and he it was an accidental overdose. So it's not like he did this on purpose and killed himself on and was trying to do it. It's it's really sucks. But that was a very nice gesture on behalf of Colin.
Yeah, absolutely, and I do love how SNL is a family that carries on generation to generation.
Kind of like how we're a family.
So, moving on. You want to talk about sketches, or can I talk about Jason Momoa?
My favorite sketch was.
Wait, no. Do you want to get into Ben your?
I kind of do actually.
Yeah. Okay. Get into your notes.
Ben's
first.
bitchin' corner.
No. So, and I could be totally off base here, but I feel like this is a slam, man. This is a hot take.
Oh no.
Jason Momoa has this unearned confidence about being a host. Like he the whole time just was smug about how well he was doing and how much a part of the show he is and all that. Dude, you got to be better than this if you're going to be that, because he wasn't good. But every time that he was on there in even the Good Nights, he's like bowling people over and hugging them, and this is the best thing ever. It's like, man,
see, I don't want to say unearned confidence, because I do think that he has earned the confidence he has, and I think
I'm talking about on SNL specifically.
No, I know.
He's definitely earned my respect everywhere.
No,
else.
but that's what I think it is. Though, I think it's just his overall confidence in general, and the fact that he was clearly just having a good time.
Sure.
And I think that's really where the confidence would play. I don't think it's confidence of like, man, we're doing so well. It's just like no matter what, he's having a good time. It's that thing like you said at the top of the show. I'm loving life. That's what it was. It's just him really being into what's happening.
I don't like it.
No, I don't disagree, because I was like, man, I wish this was better so I could enjoy this with you.
Yeah, you're having the time of your life. I'm not. Right? You're like, oh, it must be life to wake up every morning and love your life.
What did you want him to do though?
Be better in the sketches. Don't.
And I agree with Ben too, because if I went back and I looked at some of the good stuff from his first time hosting back in 2018, and he was great in that episode. It was a really good Christmas episode, and
the elf sketch was incredible.
Yeah, and
he
this
was dialed in.
This felt like he was as nervous as he should have been his first time hosting, and he wasn't very good.
And so, if you are going to backslide, but still have the confidence of somebody who's gonna be the next Justin Timberlake, I don't. This doesn't vibe with me. I just don't like it.
Yeah.
And that's what I have to say about that.
I would feel that way more if I thought the sketches were worthy of a good performance, but I think a lot of the sketches weren't that great.
Yeah, I don't think it's entirely his fault either, necessarily, because the sketches weren't good. It's not like he failed the good sketches either. In the show, it was just a mix of a variety of bad.
Okay, agree to disagree.
All right. So, what did you guys think of the overall episode? Okay, not great. Just.
I would say probably on the lower end.
It's not the worst of the season, though. It's probably like second or third.
Yeah,
I don't know. It is probably second for me.
It's pretty close to the bottom.
Pete Davidson's not great. So yeah, I just didn't think it was great. I was kind of disappointed in this one. So then it's harder to pick than your cast member of the night, your MVP.
Oh, this one was actually easy for me.
Okay, go ahead.
Bowen Yang all day long.
Okay,
he did the most by far. He tried his best in the cold open as the panda. He brought an extra level of snarkiness to the frames per second.
The vintage video one. He was funny in the Thanksgiving sketch.
Funny weekend update. He killed it. So all of those reasons, he really did a lot for this episode.
Yeah, I agree. It's Bowen Yang for me as the
villain,
as the MVP.
The only other one I thought I picked Bowen Yang as well. The only other thought I would maybe entertain is Andrew Dismukes because he did a couple really good things as well.
Yeah, he would have been very close.
The weekend update bit was great. The
and the taking the shirt off next to
the Castaway thing.
If he would have done a little bit more, I think.
Bend in a little bit more.
Right. He was in. I mean, he didn't have main roles, but he was in Untold Battle of the Sexes. Obviously, he starred in Castaway. He starred in the Weekend Update bit. He was in the Thanksgiving week airport parade and the reporter in the Baby Panda one. Yeah. I mean, so he was in a decent amount, but he didn't have really important roles in most of those. So, sketch of the night.
Untold, easily.
Yeah, Battle of the Sexes. That's what I had.
See, I really liked it, but I think that I just really enjoyed the premise of the frames per second one. Like, I just really like.
And that was your favorite of the night, then?
I don't know. I like that it's so. I just don't remember the last time I saw something so clever. Like, they just don't do that kind of thing. And I just thought that I'm probably still got to give it to the Battle of the Sexes thing just because it made me laugh the most.
Yeah, because even taking that into consideration, I would still put Remember Lizards as second place.
Well,
sketch.
see, but you've told me that I'm not allowed to do that because that's not a sketch.
No, I'm just saying I think it's funnier. So.
Yeah, but you said that doesn't count.
But I would rather you break the rules. Told me,
you can't do that, Ben. And I go, it's still a bit. And you're like, no, that's a Weekend Update character. It's not the sketch of the night. You've literally said that on the show, and I will not tolerate you.
But I would rather
breaking the rules now.
But I would rather you break the rules than try and put a mediocre sketch in the top slot.
Well, this has been the 10-1.
One of the things I was most disappointed in is there wasn't a great Thanksgiving sketch in this. Usually
the
travel
Thanksgiving
one,
episodes like they lean into it.
There's a one around the table.
Oh, yeah. What about the one where Joe Biden has to pardon a turkey, but he can't physically lift the axe
because he's old.
Because he's super old.
They did do the Thanksgiving parade travel one. It just wasn't
Which
like
wasn't
a
relevant to me because I don't travel on Thanksgiving.
Well, you don't need you to understand the vibe.
I know, but I
think you do, Brad.
I feel like there's.
I'm not president, but I understand. What
I know, but
it
just wasn't that great then. I mean, it just wasn't very funny. So, but I missed. Usually, there's more than one Thanksgiving sketch.
No, usually, especially the episode right before Thanksgiving, it's usually like basically a full-on Thanksgiving episode.
You know what, Brad? No, wait a minute. Yeah, I gotta go back here.
Hold on, he's got weird.
No, just because you're like, I remember multiple times this episode where I'm like, well, Momoa has this underconfidence. He's like, well, I don't know that it's fair because it wasn't his fault. Then you specifically said the monologue was shit. I don't know what he was doing in that airport sketch. No. He was the worst part about that.
He was not very good in this episode. But what I'm saying is, I don't think it's entirely his fault that the episode was bad.
I'm just pointing to the two areas that you said were bad.
He was certainly not good. I don't think the monologue is necessarily his fault either, because it didn't seem like the writers really did fucking anything for him.
What if you found out that he wrote the mom joke? Like that would like, well, gee,
it'd be like, oh,
you know what? MVP.
Yeah.
All right. So what do we don't have an episode next week. We're a week off here, and then
2 weeks off.
We're not doing this again.
Is it really 2 weeks off or no?
No,
we have 2 weeks until we have another episode.
All right, so we've got 1 week of no episode, then we'll be back, everyone.
Yes.
And then who's the host?
Emma Stone.
Emma Stone is hosting on December
with Noah
2nd.
Khan. I'm so excited about Noah Khan.
I don't know who it is.
I don't know who that is.
He's so good. I'm going to send you guys some music. It's so good.
Are they related to Shao Kahn?
No.
Is it sad?
It's from Mortal Kombat.
I mean, Are there some sad songs? Yes.
Yeah, so it's just a real sad artist that Nate loves.
Compare him to somebody, Nate.
Sam Smith.
He's like a folk artist. So you actually, Brad,
So that's a genre.
Yeah,
Compare him to somebody.
Jeff Tremaine.
I don't know who to compare him to.
Soggy Bottoms.
Hosier.
No. He's more
Sia?
folky than that.
Mumford and the Sons.
You just keep saying things, and I can't think.
Mumford.
Every time
Ray
you say
LaMontagne.
things- Nope. He's not as bluesy as Ray LaMontagne.
Jason Mraz.
Nope. Not as poppy
Bruno
as Jason
Mars.
Mraz gets.
I can't know anything.
I will send you some songs, and you'll like it. So
All right.
John Mayer.
We'll be
No.
back in 2 weeks after a new episode of Saturday Night
2 weeks
Live.
off?
we're off 1 week.
We'll be back in 2 weeks.
Do you have any announced anybody else or no?
No, that's it so far.
Okay.
And that's enough.
That's enough.
5 Timers Club?
She is going to the 5 Timers Club.
That's enough.
That'll be fun.
Enough. You might maybe edit that.
Enough.
I don't know why you're saying it though.
I'm just. But he corrected me.
She's not in Barbie.
I know, but I just.
Nate,
Fine.
I love you so much. You have the unearned confidence of a young Jason Momoa.
And on that note, hey, where can people find you online?
Slashfilm.com. Check out my reviews the morning after new episodes of Saturday Night Live, and check me out on Twitter at Ethan_Andertime.
X.com.
X.com.
Twitter.com.
Ben, have you made it to the internet yet?
I don't care. I love you so much, buddy.
I love you too, buddy. We're on the internet. Go to the10to1.com, like and rate us. We do appreciate all of that. Share the podcast with other SNL fans or just on your Instagram or Twitter or LinkedIn or whatever.
Yeah, and honestly, it makes our whole freaking
reviews, honestly.
If you give us a review,
if you want to give us a
or,
great Christmas present, write a review.
Comment on anything that we do, like literally on Instagram or on Facebook. Just drop a comment. I really liked X Sketch. I will read that and I will smile. Like,
Yeah,
I love
time.
hearing
It's
from you
real bonerific.
guys. I don't get an actual. Okay, you know what, Nate? Let's just close it out.
Yeah, hey, we're honestly grateful for all the listeners we have, and we love doing
we're
this.
very thankful.
That's what I'm doing. I'm going there.
Thankful.
Yeah,
Because
grateful.
Thanksgiving.
I mean, grateful. Grateful also means thankful. So I'm grateful for you guys.
Thanks.
I am grateful for our
Thanks.
other podcasts and our listeners, and I'm grateful for SNL.
Hey, I'm grateful for you guys.
I'm thankful for Heidi Gardner
Okay.
and how funny she is and wonderful. And if she would just return my letters, that'd be great.
Yeah, no, we did get a cease and desist there.
That's true.
All right, be good to yourself, be good to others. Bye-bye.